Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is David, this is David K Reacts, and here on this channel I normally ramble, hopefully with articulation, about a variety of different video, audio and musical elements of the videos that I watch. Today's a little different. You might notice I don't have headphones on, I'm also center of the screen rather than off to one side, and that's because this is just a channel update, with some other bits and pieces as well. There's going to be an Ask Me Anything at the end, and a couple of other bits and pieces. As you may have seen if you see the posts that I put up on my channel, unfortunately I have a broken foot at the moment, and it's been an incredible pain in the neck. Well, pain in the foot, but you know what I mean. In that it's really slowed me down with a bunch of different things, and it's tough work for me to fit getting this done into my schedule. This is something I want to do as often as I can. I would do a couple of videos a week if I could, but most weeks I can only squeak by getting the one out and then slow me down a bunch, and I just couldn't get it done, which really frustrated me. But I decided to use the opportunity to release this, which I've been meaning to do for quite some time. I looked and it's been almost 3 years since I did a channel update. I did a 1 year on update, and I think that might have been the last one, which is, he says as he throws pens around, has been a heck of a long time. So this is well overdue, and it also comes at an interesting time because I'm about to change a couple of things up, and so it's a good opportunity to let you know about those. So that's what this video is going to be me. It'll be me chatting away. Yes, for those who don't know me, hi, my name's David, as I said, and I react to and analyse, more specifically, a bunch of musical videos that I watch from a variety of creators. I have a few core creators, and I have some that I just pull in 1 or 2 videos, and then some that become sort of secondary, who come back a little less frequently, but still come back repeatedly. And I just try and find things that I think are cool, artists I think are cool, interesting bits of music, whatever it happened to be, and talk about them and share my love of what I'm listening to. And that's what this is all about for me. The actual reaction is a part of that, sure, but it's not the core part of my videos. It's not the central focus. So those of you who enjoy pure reactions, you can still watch my videos, please do, but usually after about a quarter of the video has gone by, I go into deep dives on the music and the lighting and the cinematography and whatever else happens to catch my eye. So be aware of that. Please do join me, do check out the channel, and hopefully you'll find some stuff you enjoy. Anyway, one quick thing, of course, you'll notice the video quality for this video is quite poor. I am recording, actually, I realized I didn't have my webcam on me, but this was my opportunity to record this, so unfortunately I'm recording it on the native webcam that's built into my laptop, which is supposedly HD, but is nowhere near as good. So pardon the quality of that, but hopefully it doesn't matter too much. So yes, what is going on with David K Reacts? You may have seen on Instagram, I just rebranded, and I'm going to be doing that here as well. I came up with a fun new idea for a channel logo, and that's going to play a part in some other stuff as well. So that's going to be happening very shortly. If not, perhaps as this video goes live, I'm not sure. It'll be sometime in the next week or so. And that's sort of the big visual change. Nothing else is going to be changing. Lots more videos coming, of course. That's the purpose of this channel, and more in the works. I'm hoping that I'm going to get to a point where I can maybe do more than 1 video a week, a little more regularly than I do. I do have a theme month or 2 on the way, one coming very shortly. But I just need to be able to get that content out, and life is life, and there's been a lot happening in my life over the past year, and ultimately it's going to free up time. It's just I'm not where I thought I might be by now, and that's why I've been doing things like saying that the Patreon is going to be updated shortly and then not delivering on that. It's because I haven't quite caught up with myself yet. And I'm getting there, and this is all coming. I'm not shirking away from it. I just need to find the time to do it right. The last thing I want to do is fire something off half-baked, and then people sign on as the new Patreon tier, and I can't deliver whatever it is you're supposed to be getting. That is my worst nightmare. I want this to go live at a point where I'm able to deliver to you what you should be getting, whether that's video content or other things. So, but there's going to be a lot more videos coming. I've got lots of things I want to do. There's also going to be a couple more videos like the one I did on One-Winged Angel. I did a video on that a little while ago now that was semi-scripted. I had ideas I wanted to talk about. I bullet pointed them out, and then I kind of riffed off them while I was doing the video. There's going to be more like that coming, and I've got one of those again fairly soon in the pipeline. I hope all going to plan. It's almost completely planned out now, but it's got more logistics to it, and you'll see why when it comes out. But yeah, so that's coming. There'll be a few more like that. I also have my music theory concept that I floated a little while ago. Lots of people said yes, they'd like to hear some music theory so that they can better understand what I and other reactors are talking about. I'm going to do that. My original hope had been that I was going to use videos I have already covered to show examples of the things I'm talking about. So an obvious and fairly easy to find example would be a tierce to Picardy or a Picardy third, which is where a song is in minor but finishes on a major chord, or even key changes in the middle into a major chord. However, as I've been recording videos since I put that poll out, I've realized how incredibly difficult and time-consuming it would be for me to go back and find all of those examples. I've covered hundreds of videos on this channel at this point in time, and going back and picking out, oh, this one had the Dorian mode in it, or this one had an example of a suspended fourth, or whatever it happened to be. One of those, the first of those would be very difficult to find. The second of those would be probably fairly easy to find, but it would just take too much time. So what I think I'm going to do instead is I'm going to find an opportunity where I can have a piano next to me. It might be here in my space. It might be somewhere else. And I'm going to record that video then, and I'm going to actually demonstrate it with me playing things on a piano. And that way I'll still be able to demonstrate it properly, but I won't have the tens of hours of work it would take me that I just don't have the time to do, unfortunately. I really would like to do it that way because I'd love to be able to say, here's voice plays this, or here's, this example of something that, I don't know, happened in this video that I covered, and here's an example of that specific thing that I talked about. And it would be amazing, but it would be if I'd thought about it sooner and I'd flagged as I go through, oh, this video talks about that would be great. But as I say, I started doing that, and I found in the 6 months or so it's been, I'm not sure actually, it's been since I posted that question, I found about 3 or 4 of the things I wanted to talk about, which means it would be a much bigger deal. So anyway, that's the way that one is going. I'm intending on getting better at social media. I've made a little bit of a restart on Instagram, but I keep starting it, and again, life. I'm not great at social media in the best of times, and I do want to be better at that, but it's just taking me a little bit of time to get there. But I want to get better at that. I also want to get better at responding to your comments on here. Loads of comments have come through recently, especially from new audiences, like the people who've come in to watch my video, my analysis of High Ren. I have so many comments on that, and I think I've only responded to half a dozen. And I really want to get better at doing that, because I really appreciate the communication that I get with you folks. It means a lot to me, and I used to be really good at responding to everything. I would respond to every single comment on every video. That's a little impractical now. My audience is large enough, and when I do get some videos, get very few comments, but when I get a chunk, it's just too much, and there's no way I could make that happen. But I can still respond to as much as possible, and I intend to. So I'm going to get better at that. And then just grow the channel more. That's my big goal. I really want to this is something I love doing, and I want to grow it into whatever it's going to become. I grow very, very slowly, because 40+ minute videos put people off. And even somebody who genuinely would enjoy what I do, it's a long time to listen to somebody, and I get that. So I'm a slow grow channel, but I really appreciate each and every one of you who is here. And I would love to bring more people into the fold. So those are my sort of thoughts going forwards at this point in time. I have a couple of other ideas as well, but I don't want to jump too hard onto them while I still figure out what's going on. But I did have a few bits and pieces of facts and figures that I thought might interest some folks. I'm over 4,500 subscribers now, over 4,550, I think, which is amazing. The channel continues to build, and it has little spurts, like when I did High Ren, for example, a bunch of renegades came on board, and all of a sudden I had a spurt of about, I don't know, 300, I think, and that's incredible. And I really appreciate you all for coming in and joining, and please do tell people about this, because, you know, it's the word of mouth does a lot of good in this world. But I absolutely am amazed and happy with that. My goal is to hit 5,000 before the end of the year. I don't know if I can do that, but I would love to make that a reasonable target to try and do. The core groups always continue to hit well, and that's why you'll see... So my rotation, if you haven't seen my rotation before, or haven't heard about it, the way I work, because they are the group I started this with, my rotation begins with voice play. I will do a voice play video, and then I will try and do a home free, a pentatonics, a voctive, and then 2 or 3 other artists usually. And then I will swing back round and I will do a voice play again, and I will hit those other people again and a few other artists. And the others are the ones I was saying it can be kind of all over the place. Sometimes it's a one-shot, and sometimes I'll bring in groups like Tommy Johansson or Majestica or The Hound and the Fox, where they come in every second or third rotation, so they're frequent returns to the channel, but they're not there every single cycle. The reason I do that, voice play, home free, pentatonics, to a slightly lesser extent voctive, all hit really well. There's a massive number of people will watch those videos compared to some of the others. I'll have videos that, you know, barely break 100, 200 in a couple of weeks, and then I'll release a voice play video, for example, and I'll shoot up to 800, 900 very, very quickly. And so I try and balance that. I want to always be bringing new things in, but I want to do it in a way that entertains my audience. And so that's why I do that particular form of rotation. I always like to bring in new stuff because I like to challenge people, but I also, you know, who knows who happens to like that group, and therefore they come on board and check it out. So that's the way that I work. The most popular video every single week that I haven't released one of the big ones is always The Sound of Silence by Disturbed. That video consistently getting a couple of hundred views a week. Which is extraordinary to me. I released that 3.5 years ago, I think. And I'm closing in on 35,000 views of that video, which is huge. Absolutely huge for me. I'm really appreciative to the Disturbed community who are supporting that, and those who just love that version of the song. Really. Thank you to all of you. I really appreciate you coming on and bringing more people on to check out that video. And it really is, it shows how popular that is as a piece of reaction material too. That there's obviously people there who are searching it and they find me in the process. So thank you to everybody who watches. The second video on the channel is still Ghost Love Score, Nightwish, which has been sitting at around 9,600 for quite a while now. I'm really hoping we can pip the 10,000 mark with that one, but it hasn't moved in a little bit. But so if Ghost Love Score or Nightwish is something that interests you, please go and check out that video. I'd love to get that 360, 370 odd that we need just to tip it over 10k. 37% of the people who watch my content are subscribed, which is actually, while my audience is small, that's a very high percentage. You know, you get a lot of people out there, and yes, they have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views of their videos, but only 2 or 3% of their viewers are subscribed. So thank you to everybody who subscribed. I really, really appreciate it. And if you watch my content and you're not subscribed, why not? Just click a button. Yeah, sure, I'll pop up on your feed. Well, I don't even have to do that. You can use the notification bell to say, no, don't tell me when you post new videos. I just want to support him by being subscribed. I would be very, very grateful. What did interest me is fully 50% of my viewership is from the US. I mean, it doesn't surprise me entirely because, you know, I'm a Western creator doing reaction videos, which are very popular in the US right now. But compared to 3.5% from the UK, where I'm from, and 1.9% from Canada, where I live. Now, granted, that might be the groups I'm responding to as well, because I do a lot of work with American groups, so it does make sense. But that just kind of fascinated me. And then one last thing is I just wanted to be a little bit open about finances, because I think people don't really understand what it is to be a YouTube creator. And I'm an atypical example because of the size of my channel. But just to give you an idea, that Disturbed video, as I say, it's been out for about 3.5 years, and I've earned about $300 from that video. So that gives you a rough idea of the turnover rate for that. That's through ad revenue. So that's from the ads that play at the beginning and the end of the video. I have opted not to put ads in the middle of my videos. I might do when I do longer form semi-scripted, but I tend to leave that box unchecked because I don't want to disrupt your experience with ads. So I just play them at the beginning and the end. So yeah, that gives you an idea. And I get $100 paid out to me roughly every 3 months or so from Google. So that's what the size of channel and the viewership that I gets me from Google's ad revenue. And then I get about $30 to $40 at the moment from Patreon every month. So thank you to everybody who supports me through that method, because, you know, obviously it works out to be a little bit better in the grand scheme of things than Google is. And I'm very grateful to all of you who support me. And thank you to those who buy coffees or leave me a super thanks on YouTube as well. Those are also very gratefully received. And the super thanks go directly into how often I get paid out every time Google hits $100. And those super thanks go to boost that. It goes into that kitty, so I get paid out whenever that happens. So very grateful to all of you who support the channel, and I just wanted to let you know how a little bit of this works, because I think YouTube, even for us on the creator side, and granted, this isn't my job, so I haven't dug super deep into how it all works, but it's still quite obfuscated, and I think it's even more so to the audience side. So I just wanted to kind of let you know a little bit about how it works. And then finally, I haven't asked me anything. I threw this out mostly to my Discord channel, which are my Patreon supporters, but I did have a couple of questions come from other sources as well, and so I wanted to share those with you and just sort of let you know what's a little bit more about me, I guess. So there's a few interesting questions here. The first one that was asked is, what is one of my favourite performances and why? I took this to mean performances I have done. I hope that was the tenor of the question. And I actually have a very easy answer to that, although I also have an honourable mention. And the honourable mention was any time I've been in a quartet. When I say that, there's two specifically. I was in a barbershop quartet for a while, and I was in a saxophone quartet for even longer. And those have been some of the greatest musical experiences. I have really, really enjoyed them. And that's been absolutely wonderful. It's been such a pleasure to be able to do that kind of stuff. And quartet dynamics, I think, are so enjoyable. And so I had a really good time with those. But my favourite performance I've ever done, and this happened about 17, 18 years ago, maybe even longer. I'm not 100% sure, and I probably don't want to know. But I did a performance of the complete works of William Shakespeare abridged. If you've never seen this, it is a spectacular play, comedy. It's a three-hander, and it's three people who perform all 37 major plays of Shakespeare, and the play is 90 minutes long. And the way that it happens each time, all the histories are done as an American football match. I can't remember how everything goes now, but it was so much fun. It was completely bonkers. From the moment I was on stage, the longest I was off stage before coming back on again was 47 seconds. And that often included getting props, changing elements of costume, whatever it was. It was completely manic in the best possible way. And I had an absolute blast doing that. And hands down, it has been my favourite thing I've performed in. That was back in the UK when I was there. I grew up working at the Kenneth More Theatre in Ilford, for anyone who knows that. And we did it there, and I just had so much fun. Absolutely wonderful. So that was definitely that one. Next question. If I could do anything I wanted to earn a living, what would it be and why? Again, two answers, although these, rather than an honourable mention, these are tied, because I would do either one of them. Number one is writing. If I could fully earn my living from writing, I would be a very happy man. I've basically discovered through my life, I've pulled further and further out. I was a performer, then I did theatre tech, lighting, flies, floor crew, projection, that kind of stuff. Then I became a musical director, then I became a musical supervisor, then I became a composer and a writer. And really, writing is where I am at my happiest. And so if I could be paid to do that on a regular basis, I would be a very happy man indeed. And the other one is voice acting, and this is something I've just started, well, I haven't just started looking into it. I've looked at it a bit, but I've just started to take it seriously. And it's a little bit of a financial investment to get going with that, to get a couple of demos recorded for you and things like that. But that's something I would really like to get into. And specifically, I think I would have a blast voice acting video games. But I mean, honestly, anything. I'd like to do audiobooks. Obviously, everybody who does voice acting does commercials, because that's the bread and butter of any voice actor until you become really famous. But yeah, those I think are the two things I would do. How old is Timmy? And did I get him as a kitten? Well, firstly, Timmy is actually not my cat. So I didn't originally get him, but he was like, he is my cat in the sense that I live with him, but he wasn't originally mine. He was about 7 or 8 months old. So not quite a baby kitten, but definitely still a kitten. And as of right now, he is about to turn 12. He turns 12 in February of 2027. So yes, he's in his sort of wise old years, shall we say. So yes, he's doing very well. What is your favorite movie or musical, and how has it shaped or influenced your creative and career endeavors? I hate this question because picking one is so difficult. But I think I almost always land on Sondheim. And Sweeney Todd is always very close, as is Merrily We Roll Along. And I tend to vacillate between those two. Wicked is close behind, and Les Mis is close behind. But I think those two are always pretty close to being my top. I think the one that has had a bigger influence on me in the grand scheme of things is probably actually Merrily We Roll Along. And the main reason for that was it was the first time I saw a piece of media that wasn't a book or a movie where time didn't work right. If you haven't seen Merrily We Roll Along, the whole thing happens backwards. So you start at the end of the chronological story and you slowly go backwards, and it's wonderful because you see this fractured relationship between these three individuals, a composer and his friends, who are trying to make a thing of it, and his head gets too big. And he ends up breaking up, the relationship fractures and breaks apart. And over the course of the musical, you see the events that made that happen. And it ends on this poignantly hopeful note where you see them wishing for the future, and that's not the way that they want it to go, isn't the way it's going. Well, it will go that way for a bit, and then it'll go sour. And it's a beautiful piece. But it taught me something about how a story can be told. There's also The Mystery of Edwin Drood, which is a Charles Dickens novel. He died before it was finished, and Rupert Holmes made a musical of it, where he has the audience fill in the blanks, because we don't know. Now, I've not read it, but based on the information in the musical, we don't know who the killer is in the story. We don't know some of the other elements of the story. And so they play through the musical to a certain point, and then by round of applause, like who gets the loudest cheer, this person becomes the killer, this person becomes the love interest, and so on and so forth. And it's absolutely hilarious and wonderful, and I really, really enjoy it. And those two things put together really made me look at storytelling in what was at the time my favorite and primary medium of interest. And look at it and go, oh, interesting. Things can be done a different way. I'd seen time travel movies. I'd seen, other bits and pieces. But the way that they were constructed really caught my ear. And I think it's because I saw them around the point I was starting to construct my own work. And it's got to the point now where I'm about to start working on a video game I'm going to design that is entirely about how things can be manipulated through repetition and like a Groundhog Day kind of environment. And that's all I'm going to say on it for now. But even that thought process has come out of, originally understanding that things can be done differently. And those shows really showed me why. So yeah, that's a long answer, but hopefully that answers your question. What first sparked your interest in music and later on doing reactions and analyses? 2 different questions there. So what first sparked my interest in music? I think I grew up with people who enjoyed music, so there was always music on. However, the big thing that really got to me was when I was growing up, Every afternoon, I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandmother was a training sister at the Royal London Hospital, then the London Hospital. And she would get home from work around 4 and want an hour and a half to decompress, change, all that kind of stuff. And so I would go across the road to a friend of the family, and I would be there. This is when I was very young. Well, it started when I was very young, and it continued for years. But I would go over and spend an hour and a half across the street. And the lady I stayed with, her son, was an incredible pianist, and he played by ear, or plays by ear. He couldn't read sheet music. But what he would do is he would listen to the music of the programs I was watching on TV, and the big one that comes up here is Thunderbirds. And you'll know if you've watched my music that inspired me. I think I talked about this story a little bit there. And by the end of an episode, he had figured out how to play it on the piano, and then he played it. And hearing the music I loved being played that way, straight away I was on board, and I wanted to learn how to play. And they dug out there was a music book. I used to call it GBDF and ACE, but it was GBDF and ACE, which are the musical, how you represent musical notes on staves. It was the name of the book. And I started poking keys and beginning to understand how to read music when I was 3. To the point now where every now and then I take something like Japanese kanji or Mandarin or something like that, the written text, and I look at it and I go, this is what it's like for people who don't read music. Because I don't remember a time when I couldn't, because I was started on learning so young. And I literally cannot, like, if I look at a piece of music, I can immediately start to hear that piece of music and understand it. And obviously not completely. It takes a while to do that. I'm not fluent. I don't just read it like I'd read a book. You have to study it and think about it and figure out what that chord is and how it pieces together and what have you. But I know how to read it, and I can't imagine not knowing how to read it. And it's how my brain has been wired. So that's where that came from. And then what inspired me to do reactions and analyses. I got into reactions originally from trying to watch. I would watch video. I can't remember what the thing was. I think it was Chernobyl, the TV program Chernobyl. I saw people reacting to that, and I realized it was a means of experiencing for the first time again something I had already consumed. And I kind of got into it with a few bits and pieces, and it was interesting to see people's perspectives. And then I started seeing, nuclear research scientist reacts to Chernobyl, or channels like Vanity Fair and things like that will do, oceanographer breaks down shark attack scenes in movies and stuff like that. And I really appreciated that level of understanding as well. And that's where the analysis part of me comes from. And the reaction part comes from watching people, I think the same way that people love watching like Jeff Castellucci or Tim Faust hit a bottom note for the first time. People would watch movies and, you could see a really emotional or a funny or a shocking beat in a movie and experience that emotion to a lesser extent because it's coming. But you still experience it for the first time. And I really enjoyed that. And then I got the request from a friend of mine back in the UK who said, hey, you'll really love this arrangement of the Wicked music. Can you watch it? And we couldn't have a video call. So he said, can you video yourself so that I can see your reaction to it? And my brain put 2 and 2 together. And I just thought, I'm going to do this. And if I like the video, I'm going to post it on YouTube. And I did. And the rest is history. I just ran from there. That was Voice Play's Wicked medley, and it really took off from there. So, yeah. The next question was, did my friend enjoy the reaction to Wicked? Yes, he loved it. He had a really, really good time with it, and was quite, I think, is a little bit chuffed that he sparked this, because he doesn't have the confidence to do this kind of thing, and I think he was a little bit chuffed that he sparked somebody into doing it. So, yeah, but no, he very, very much enjoyed it. And it still watches the channel to this day, to my knowledge. How do I request things for you to cover? As in, how does you, the audience, say to me, I want you to cover this video? There's currently one way of doing that, which is put a note in the comments. I haven't been good about reading the comments recently, as I alluded to earlier. It's been I haven't been able to do it. And so there's a lot of stuff I'm probably going to have to go back and try and pick out. I'm sure new things like Ren, I know I've got tons of recommendations for Ren in there and specific orders to watch things in and things like that. I know people want me to go through the rest of the Nightwish album that I've started. But whenever I can, I pull out those recommendations and I put them into a list. Now, that list is about 470 songs long at the moment, and it gets a lot longer than it gets shorter because of the speed I put reactions out. So that is an unreliable way. It will add it to a thing, and if I have something like there's home free videos on there, and most of those recommendations came ages ago, but there are home free or voice play or pentatonics, there are videos on there that have specifically been requested multiple times, and those videos will go way higher up the likelihood of me actually covering them when I come back to that group. If it's somebody I haven't covered before, it'll be whenever I pull them in, and if it's somebody I have covered before but they're not one of the core groups, it'll be whenever I'm looking at bringing that group back onto the channel. I will look at possibly doing one of those videos. It's unreliable, but it certainly puts things on my radar. If I can start doing more videos, it will be a much more reliable method, but still, I have a lot to get through. Sneak peek for the next question and also for my upcoming Patreon update. There is going to be a way of requesting once a month a video that I cover. I'm only going to do it once a month because I don't want people who are not part of my Patreon to feel like they're missing out if everything is a Patreon request. But once a month, I'm going to do a Patreon request video. I may do 2 if I get to 2 videos a week. Or I may keep it with 1, and I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to there's going to be some balancing act here as I get this sort of thing going. But yeah, so that will be the second method, and that will be coming very shortly. Final question is, when is the Patreon update coming? Because I had said it was originally going to happen this week. The broken foot has not only stopped me from recording a reaction this week, it has also slowed me down from a couple of the things I'm trying to do to polish off that. I'm going to be sending my suggestions for my new tiers to my current patrons, because I want them to be okay with it too. That's going to go out probably today or tomorrow. And then the Patreon update will roll out either next week or the week after. I'm hoping for next week. The reason I'm saying question mark on that is there's a couple of things I just need to test before I commit to them. And then once I have done that, then it'll be much, much easier to get stuff going. So yeah, that's my thought on that. And that's it for now. Those are all the questions I had, but hopefully that's told you a little bit more about me and also about what I'm doing with this channel. So yeah, that's it really. So I'm going to call it there. I don't want to keep waffling for too long, but hopefully that's been enjoyable for you. Thank you very much for joining me, especially if you're still here at the end of the video. Any time you spend with me, always very greatly appreciated. So yes, please do hit the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell on this channel. And if you care to support me, as I mentioned, you can head to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts, where you could leave a one-off donation of any amount. You can head to patreon.com/DavidKReacts, currently available for $2 or $4 Canadian or your regional equivalent, and that's just ongoing support and Discord access. But there will be a lot more tiers coming in the next week or 2. Or you can leave a super thanks here on YouTube, and any of those are very gratefully appreciated if you should choose to do them. That's it for this week. It's a no reaction week, which I don't like having, but you know, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So take care of yourselves, have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.